Do you ever feel like your job was heel, like you couldn't manage to do damage? Do you ever feel like maybe praying and be useful for more than undead slaying? Do you know that there's still a chance for you, 'cause there's a spark in you? You gotta pray to the night, the light, and you'll be fine. Just roll the dice, but don't cast Flame Strike, 'cause baby, that's the cleric nerds. He gonna cast a healing word, commands his god's wrath, even brings you back from death. Baby, that's the cleric nerds, carried by spirit guardians. Don't cast any other spell, 'cause nothing else works half as well. Sup, Punions, Chris Punking here, and welcome to DnDesign, the show where I look at D&D class design and roast it, or praise it, based on my own biased opinions. On today's episode, he attack, he protect, but most importantly, he cleric. Unfortunately, I have not many opinions on the cleric. But this is the series, and I need to talk about it, and it's not like I don't have anything to say, because I do like to hear myself talking. Level 1. D8 hit die, medium armor, shields, weapon. Sorry, I thought this was a spellcaster. Why does this almost read like a frontline? For being a full spellcaster, clerics are uncharacteristically tanky, with incredibly high AC due to their shields and armor. This does come at a hefty price, though. Spellcasting. But clerics can change which spells they have prepared at the start of each day, and they can choose from their entire spell list. It is unfortunate that out of all the full spellcasters, the cleric spell list might be the worst one. Yeah. As is the case for most full spellcasters, the power of the cleric comes from its spells. But the problem is that the cleric spell list doesn't excite me all that much. Don't get me wrong, I like Bless and Spiritual Weapon, and I like Spirit Guardians. But these are like the only standout spells the cleric has. No variety whatsoever. If you're a cleric, you probably pick these. Or at least 2 out of these 3 on every single cleric. And that's fine. They are iconic. But for a class that can change their spells every long rest, it's sad that 90% of them will never see the light of play. Also at level 1, Divine Domain. The cleric is, in my opinion, the class that is most defined by its subclass. That is because you get 2 subclass features right at level 1 and another one at level 2. So while fighters still don't know whether they can cast magic or not, you already have several subclass features under your belt. First, an expanded spell list. This is what takes the cleric's basic, boring spell list and upgrades it to be potentially less boring. I really like this. There is a caveat here, but I will move on for now. Because in addition, each cleric also gets 1 more feature, maybe even 2, although that usually just includes more weapon and armor proficiencies if you're a combat cleric, which is strong but not particularly exciting. Here are some of these that I really like. The Light Cleric can blind people that attack them. The Tempest Cleric can shock people that attack them. The War Cleric can make an attack as a bonus action. These can all be used multiple times and let you do additional cool stuff each round without requiring your action. They're like bardic inspiration in a sense, something cool to do in addition to what you're already doing. And while they don't get much better as you gain levels, I still like them for providing you with cool stuff to do right from level 1. The problem is that the rest of the cleric subclasses just don't get anything even remotely as cool. Here are a few examples. You learn a druid cantrip. Oh, banger! Why are you not playing a druid? You gain expertise into knowledge skills? I don't even know why. Is this? I want to be able to do stuff. Doing stuff is fun. Give someone else advantage on stealth rolls? Okay, you are the trickery cleric but cannot be good at stealth yourself? Damn. Cast Spare the Dying as a bonus action? For when Healing Word is not an option, I guess? But hey, so what if your first level feature is kinda boring? You gain another one at 2nd level right away. An option for your Channel Divinity. Thank God, because no one was going to use it for Turn Undead. Turn Undead is completely useless unless you're fighting Undead, at which point it becomes completely OP to the point that every high-level Undead is resistant to being turned. Who designed this? And who named this? Turn undead makes it sound like you're turning yourself into an undead, which probably would be cooler than what we have right now. Anyways, you get a second use for your channel divinity. That's based on your subclass. And again, half of them suck. Here's where my biggest problem with the Cleric comes in. You get 3 features from your subclass very early on, which sounds really cool. Unfortunately, half of these features are just incredibly boring, and the other half is really cool. But unfortunately, the cool ones happen to never be on the same subclass, so you're always stuck with a bad feature. The Grave Cleric's channel divinity that gives someone else vulnerability to the next damage instance is so cool, but its level 1 feature and expanded spell list put me to sleep. And this is true for most Cleric subclasses. At least one of its features is a snoozer. And because you are so reliant on your subclass, that makes them all the more jarring. And then, in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, they entirely overcorrect this by releasing some of the most broken soup the game has ever seen in the Peace and Twilight domains. This leaves only a handful of Cleric subclasses that I really find interesting to play. And that is a damn shame, because the class is so closely tied to its subclass. But that also means that if you find a Cleric subclass you really like, it might be your favorite thing in the game. Jumping a whole lot further to level 5, here is where Clerics get 3rd level spells. And this is a major power boost for the Cleric, as well as for every class who gets 3rd level spells. But unlike other classes who have a variety of options for powerful spells, the Cleric gets Spirit Guardians. A spell that is so hideously powerful, I can only say that there is no better way for a Cleric to spend their spell slots of any level than to cast Spirit Guardians with it. And it doesn't help that the next best thing a Cleric can do to deal damage with a 3rd level spell slot is Spirit Shroud, which is just so much worse in every way. Less damage, less range, only affects a single target instead of everyone, does not slow enemies down, and only lasts 1 minute instead of 10. Oh, but it prevents healing, I guess. Whoop-de-doo. Spells like this need to leave the game. Nothing should be so good that becomes a must-pick. Characters become boring because everyone takes the same option. It's not an option at that point. Level 8. Divine Strike or Potent Spellcasting. Depending on whether you're a caster or an armor-type cleric, which depends entirely on your subclass, you gain either a boost to your weapon damage or to your cantrip damage. However, at this level, neither of those is what you want to be doing in combat. You want to cast spells. You're a full spellcaster after all. So this feature is bad. No, actually I really like it. It doesn't make your most powerful option more powerful, but instead lets your weaker options keep up. It makes your character stronger without potentially breaking it. All it does is give you more options, because now your cantrips and weapon attacks are more viable. Imagine if this boosted Spirit Guardians instead. You would be doing nothing else. I think this is really good design. And it's not like attacks and cantrips don't come up if you want to preserve resources, for instance. Level 11, Divine Intervention. Call down God? Seems like an awesome feature for a cleric to have. I have no further remarks. This is great, and I absolutely adore the capstone. No notes. This is peak. O gods of the D&D world, who are apparently real because how else would clerics get their magic, I do not ask for much. Not the power to heal, not the power to bless, not the power to destroy my enemies with incorporeal spirits that swirl around me in a 15-foot radius, because how would that even be useful to me? No, not even the power to bring back the dead. All I want is an outro. I hereby sacrifice to you the DnDesign video about druids, because nobody wanted to see that anyways. So please, grant me an outro, because I really need one.